designed to act as a grip on the underside of your hair. So when you slide it in, this should face down, with the flat portion facing up. This saves the amount of time you spend fiddling with your hair and the amount of bobby pins you use, which will prevent you from looking like this. I mean, she may have won the war on wisps, but at what cost? Getting physical. With all that life admin done, now's as good a time as any to get some exercise. This could be a quick run or a trip to the gym, but whatever you prefer, you should do some stretching first. After all, most of us have been told since our school days that stretching before exercise helps prevent muscle injuries and can even be beneficial to our performance. But that's not strictly true. While stretching sure feels good and helps promote flexibility, there's no concrete scientific backing that it helps to reduce injury when done before exercise. Large-scale studies have shown that in high-intensity training, like army exercises, stretching beforehand made no significant difference on injury rates or muscle soreness. What's even more amazing is that some studies into sprinting and radiation produced by microwaves doesn't travel very far, and depending on how dense your meal is, those waves will only penetrate a limited amount of the food. Most people solve this problem by stopping and stirring their food several times. But come on, who really has time for that? Netflix won't watch itself. What you should be doing to reheat your leftovers evenly and quickly is leaving a hole in the middle of your food so that it forms a ring. This way, everything is on the edges and gets cooked quick. Found that people's performance was actually reduced on average when they stretched beforehand. But a few studies alone aren't enough to cement these findings into facts. So whether you want to stretch before exercising or not is really up to you, though it might not be as important as your old high school gym teacher made it out to be. Microwave madness. Looks like you've worked up an appetite from all that exercise, so it's time to heat up some leftovers for lunch. After zapping your meal in the microwave for a couple of minutes, you take it out only to find that the food on the edge is scorching hot, but the middle is still horribly cold. This is because without leaving an icy center. And if it's in a bowl, just dig a little hole in the middle to achieve an evenly heated meal every time. Leftovers never looked so good. Seasonal ceiling fans. It's feeling a little bit chilly out, so you turn to your trusty household heater to warm up the place. But have you ever considered using your old ceiling fan to help heat up your house? It does sound a bit backwards. After all, you only really use the draft from these fans to help cool you down in the summer. And yet, they have a little-known winter function as well. Typically, ceiling fans run counterclockwise in the summer, so that the angle of the blades pushes air down towards you. This creates a wind chill effect on your skin, making you feel cooler. But in the winter, reversing the fan's direction and dropping will reduce your core body temperature proportionally. So you should focus on a full body warming solution and not just use your head. Pizza saver purposes. All up, it's been a pretty good day, so you've invited a few friends over and ordered a pizza. But when you open up that box of cheesy, doughy goodness, you find one of those straight. But since it's cold outside, you should probably wear a hat. After all, your mother and your teachers always told you that you lose most of your body heat through your head. But if you're trying to keep your whole body warm solely by loading up on cozy hats, you're making a mistake. Sorry, Mom, but according to the British Medical Journal, a person only loses 7 to 10% of their body heat through their heads. The entire myth likely stems from an old 1970s military study, which claimed as much as 45% of your body heat escapes from the top of your uncovered melon. Unfortunately, they weren't practicing very good science back then, as the subjects they were testing were wearing full Arctic suits and only had their heads exposed to the cold. Since then, science has come to its senses and claimed that exposing any part of your body to the cold at speed actually draws up cool air and pushes down warm air that's risen to the top of the room. This small change can help you save as much as 15% on your heating bills, leaving you with a warm, fuzzy feeling, inside and out. Hats off to you. Now you have to run a few errands. Change little white plastic gizmos perched in the middle of your pie. It may look like a tiny table, but this gadget, called a pizza saver, stops the top of the box from being squashed into the food. It's an ingenious invention, but because it's not edible, a lot of people just toss it into the trash before pawing at the pizza. But you don't want to do that, as it has another use that'll stop your friends from putting their hands all over your slices. I mean, your friends are probably great, but who knows where their grubby mitts have been? Fortunately, by pressing the prongs of the pizza saver down into a single slice, it remains in place while the adjoining slices can be torn off, leaving them totally untainted. It's the perfect pizza-saving solution for everyone, assuming you have friends. Unwieldy wine glasses. You're feeling fancy, so it's time to crack open a bottle of wine to serve with that greasy pizza. What a classic pairing. After you've poured it into your wine glasses, you might be tempted to hold this booze-filled baby by the bulb. As sophisticated as it feels, you actually shouldn't hold it like this when you want to take a sip. Instead, your fingers should remain firmly on the stem. This is because around 80 to 90% of what we perceive as taste is actually our smell. Don't believe me? Just think back to the last time you had a bad cold or a blocked nose, and remember how dull and bland your food tasted. So, to best experience the taste of fancy and expensive wine, glasses were developed with a long stem so that your hand remained far away from your nose. This prevents the smell of your fingers from interfering with the flavors of the wine. Though in this case, seeing as you're casually chugging down that wine with a greasy pizza, I don't reckon it'll make much of a difference. Toilet training. Unfortunately, all that wine has made you desperate to visit the porcelain throne. Now, make no mistake, being able to stand up, unzip, and quickly relieve yourself is just one of the many privileges of being a man. But it's not always the best way to go about your business. In fact, sitting down actually allows men to empty more of their bladder than if they were standing upright. This is because you're able to use your abdominal muscles to really push every last drop out, resulting in fewer bathroom breaks. Not only that, but it'll really help with the eternal problem of the male aim, much to the delight of the women in your life, I'm sure. Though you shouldn't adjust your position just for number ones, but for number twos as well. Sitting upright on the john is a practice that's been around since the time of ancient Egypt, over 5,000 years ago. But, and it's a big but, the problem with sitting like this is that it keeps a kink in your lower bowel, caused by the continence-preserving muscle of the puborectalis. This forces you to strain harder when pushing out poop from your colon, risking the development of painful conditions like hemorrhoids and colon disease. So, how exactly are you meant to relieve yourself without doing yourself a disservice? The answer can be found in a simple squat. Raising your knees up to your chest, roughly 35 degrees from your body, relaxes that puborectalis muscle and straightens out your colon, giving you a straight route to poop. While this position makes things a lot easier on your rear, some people actually clamber up onto the toilet seat to take a real deep squat into the bowl. At least they do if these hilariously disturbing toilet warning signs from around the world are anything to go by. Phone charging challenge. Returning from the toilet, you hear the all too familiar sound